Hey, I'm Kjessie,
And I'm Andre.
and we're back here with Kitchen Table Conversations with Multicultural Family Hub. We are just coming back from a trip to Savannah, Georgia, and we are making a very large move in the next few months. So we're moving our family from super rural Northern California to Savannah, Georgia this summer.
Savannah, Georgia.
We love it.
Yeah. Yeah, so we are simultaneously fixing an old house, selling an old house, moving across the country,
Closing down a business,
closing down a business,
starting a new
starting a
business.
business, and also finding a new place to live in Savannah, Georgia.
And our kids are going from homeschooled to
Yeah.
school.
So I'm sure it's recommended that you don't do any of those things at the same time.
We're gonna do all of them.
But we were talking to a realtor in Savannah, and she said, why do things easy? We could just do it in chaos. So,
Yeah,
we felt like, well, maybe this is the right fit for us.
it's
Anyway,
true.
so we're just getting back in kind of the swing of things, but it's spring is starting here, so we feel like it's actually a great time to make some big pushes and use a lot of energy. We got a lot more daylight, and so it's kind of a great time to get some big things done and move forward.
Fix up that 1914 farmhouse.
Yeah.
So wrapping up our flower farming business. So I'm still growing tulips and ranunculus and talking with friends who also want to grow flowers and thinking about moving to a totally different climate and space. And we joke about the chaos. But I think what's making us really show up for Multicultural Family Hub is just knowing that it needs to be existing right
Mhm.
now. And we are going to keep showing up amidst all the chaos of what we've going on and chatting with you at the kitchen table. And we are still planning on opening our really awesome community in June. It'll be a really great 6-month program, and you will get to meet families like yours.
Yeah.
And that kind of leads us into we were talking about one of the things that really pushed us to start Multicultural Family Hub was loneliness and how being in a multicultural relationship can feel really lonely. And it might not look like that to the outside world. But I remember the moment that Andre and I were we married yet? I don't
No,
remember.
I'm not
I
sure.
think, well, we had been together for a couple years and we were living in a small beach town in the central coast of California and had this really intense incident. And that was the moment that I knew that our journey was going to be very different. And that was the moment that it started to feel really lonely. So I'll explain this. So we had gone to a screening of To Kill a Mockingbird and had like great conversations on the way home. And we lived in the cutest little apartment across the street from the beach. It was like a really special time in our relationship. And I was working on farms, and you were working with adults with disabilities, and it
Mhm.
was just like we had just a really sweet moment in time. So we came home and we went to bed, and woke up the next morning and opened the door, and on the stoop of our porch stoop was a calling card from the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan, that said, "We're watching you." And I was flabbergasted. And I know that many of you listening might not be flabbergasted, and you're like, yeah, that's something that we've been dealing with
Yeah.
forever. But
Well,
for,
and
yeah,
also put in the context of like, Central Coast, Santa Barbara, Carpinteria area, very, open place. It's kind of like the least likely place that one would think
yeah,
that something like that would happen. For me growing up in Georgia too, it was completely bizarre because I was like, here I am out in beautiful, beach surf California, and this because that never happened to me in my life, no matter where I've lived. So that was it just kind of also, I think, in some ways, it snapped us into the awareness of like, oh, it
yeah.
doesn't, it there are people everywhere. And so your relationship and your family and what you represent, and they're always people that are willing or want to,
Attack it.
take attack it. Even in the most unlikely places, which I could say, beachside Carpinteria is the most unlikely place for something like that to happen.
And we called the police and they came and no fault of their own, they're kind of like, oh, okay, we can't do anything.
I think
Um,
they were also very
yeah, they were,
shocked and surprised.
yeah,
You're like,
totally.
I don't even know, we don't even know what to do.
Yeah, they're kind of like, okay, well, keep our eye out.
I was like, yeah, me too.
Apparently they are watching us. And yeah. So that was this like really pivotal moment. And that was probably close to 15
Yeah,
years
15
ago.
years ago, probably. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Anyways, quite a while ago. Um, and so this recognition that our relationship was going to be different, and obviously from the outside, you can see that people have two different skin tones, but you have no idea what the experience of that is unless you are in that relationship and experiencing the friction from the outside world, experiencing you, as well as
Mhm.
um, internal conflicts from coming from totally different cultures. So, one of the reasons that I am so excited to start Multicultural Family Hub is to bring together people who have had similar experiences where I can tell that story and people like nod their head, or I can tell a story about someone coming up to me and saying, "Hey, where did you get that baby?" Um, Not recognizing that I am the mother of this child, or I can tell uh, multiple stories that other people are like, but if you are in a multicultural relationship, you know the extra layer of struggle and be able to connect to one another and share stories and um, share with one another pro tips. I know that I can't wait to talk to moms that are kids that are 15, 16, 17, and talk about teenage years and be able to share my experience with younger years. And there is just so much power in connection and community and understanding and seeing each other. And that is the main reason that we're starting Multicultural Family Hub.
Yeah, I think for us, just talking to so many different families about their experience and realizing that, like, and we say loneliness, my experience is that you can be surrounded by people.
Absolutely.
You can be surrounded by lots of people
And friends.
and friends and family and people that love you and you love them. However, I think the conversations or the things or the experiences that, multicultural families would like to talk about, sometimes there's not a space for that within the social context that they're in, or within their
Yeah.
family, or within their family dinners. And so I know I hit a point where I kind of had maxed out talking about the things that a lot of folks wanted to talk about. Like, I didn't want to talk about the weather anymore. I didn't necessarily want to, talk about what the next thing that was happening on politically. There was other things that related to my experience as a father, my experience as a husband, my experience just, raising three dynamic, beautiful kids that I wanted to talk, I wanted to go deep on and I wanted to talk about. But socially, birthday parties, baseball game, most of
Barbecues.
they're not those spaces, and so it'd be kind of like a very awkward thing to kind of jump into that. And so what we realized in Multicultural Family Hub is like, oh, these conversations aren't going to happen unless we create spaces to say this is a space for this. There's a reason why there are, you can do yoga at home, but you can also go to a yoga studio. You can go to a dance studio. You can go to a Pilates studio, because when you walk into that space, it's saying that everyone is here for this thing, to engage in this thing. And so nobody has to go through all rigmarole of trying
Small
to
talk your
small
way
talk.
into
You're like,
it.
no, you get your yoga mat and you roll it out and you get ready. You get your dance shoes on and you get in and you start to warm up because everyone's there to collectively use their time wisely, and engage in something that they generally want to talk about or they want to do. And so that's where I think my loneliness is stemming from, is that desire to connect deeply with other parents and adults around these topics regarding multicultural families and raising multicultural children that are so important to us.
Yeah.
And
And the ones that we have every day.
ones that we have every day, but and once again, that kind of also brings you back to the loneliness piece, is that if you're only having that conversation with your partner, that can also be lonely.
It's also not fair
Yeah.
to the partner. It's like
Yeah.
that person trying to hold all the pieces
Yeah.
that one person can't hold for you.
Yes. And also too, we in Chessie and I, even in our conversations, it's still limited based on our knowledge and our experience.
Right.
So there's other experiences, there's other knowledge, there's other strategies that we hope to gain from this community and share with this community. And so that's our goal, is to create that space so that nobody's holding all of this, and that we all have a dedicated space so that when we are in other social spaces, we're not looking for those spaces to do and have the conversations that they're not designed to. So
Yeah.
you don't have to get frustrated or angry or upset. You just come and join us.
Yeah. Just send a message, and I know that there will be a ton of people to cheer you on, to empathize with what you're going through, to chip in with incredible suggestions and encouragement. And I completely echo what you're saying there. For me, I am social and I love being around people. And recently had an experience where I was just completely drained after an event because there was no point of connection. It was just like weather and people are tired and same old, and it just kind of felt like low energy. And excited to I'm excited to be have conversations that fill me up and fill you up, where you leave and you're like, wow, like I learned something and I have a tool, and I'm like, I feel like I can get back at it. If I was knocked off my horse a little bit, I'm like ready to get back on and feel bolstered by the people around me. And um, yeah, I felt for me for so long, I grew up in a very independent culture and that you don't ask for help. And in some ways, community was always something to be served versus this like beautiful two-way street. And I am so excited to create community with you in being able to hear and offer and have this like beautiful net so we can hold each other up, especially at this moment in time when things feel intense in our world.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's great. Yeah. So, like I said, we're excited. We have some big changes. So we'll keep you guys posted on those changes with
Yeah.
pictures and images and stories. For me, it's a homecoming, moving back to Georgia. And so it's a great time and there's a lot of growth to be had. So we're very excited to be starting Multicultural Family Hub as we are engaged in the process of learning and growing and transitioning. And
Yeah.
so we want you guys to know this isn't like philosophical for us. This is a lived experience of raising kids, questioning cultures, trying to create our own culture, and also deciding what's best for our family at each stage of our life.
Yeah, and we are taking some big, bold moves and going to continue to show up. And I just want you to be encouraged that you can find the time. If you are interested in our community, you can find the time for it, and it will absolutely change your life. So, we are opening the doors to our Multicultural Family Hub community in June. We will as we continue to develop, we'll keep releasing more and more about it, but just keep your eyes open for that. And um, we're just happy to have you with us. Thank you so much for your time and attention. It means the world, and we're just glad you're here.
All right. See you next time. Bye.